All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. What a beautiful day it is. What a beautiful day. The NFL's back. You can feel it. People are buzzing. People are energized. People have picks. People have leans. People have feelings.
Yeah.
And everyone's excited. Cannot wait for tonight.
I have a couple feelings about it. One, I'm a little bit nervous that my Partsy might pull a fast one. I don't know, because last year I was the one behind the scenes, and I was like, you're on my team this year. I hope he's loyal. I hope at the last minute he doesn't say, I'm riding with Al's brother to form a team. That would bother me. And the second thing is, I submitted the finances for our survivor pool, Hayes, and I love our rotation for that. It's O-Dog 6 years in a row, Hayes 1 year, and then back to O-Dog. So I love
that's
that
not
rotation.
true.
I love that rotation.
Never meant to be established that way at all. I am good with doing whatever you want to do, man. I'm on top of it, because I was wondering, like, do the picks have to be in tonight? It's a weird way to start, right, with survivor pools, where you got a game Thursday, game Friday. I don't think anyone's playing the game tonight.
Hasn't it been in the past? Hasn't it been in the past? It's only like a Sunday game or something?
Well, you want to have the ability to play anything. Like, any survivor pool should give you that ability, but like, you got to be so arrogant to play tonight. Like, if you have one survivor team and you're like, I'm taking Kansas City, I know they're going to win. Even the game tomorrow night, like on FanDuel, you've got Chiefs -3, almost a pick 'em, like home field advantage, generally worth about 3 points. That means neutral site game. This is basically a pick 'em. And the same thing tomorrow night, where it is a neutral site down in Brazil, but I think it's 2.5. Wow. Like, if you're betting the Packers, the Eagles, the Ravens, or the Chiefs on a survivor within the first 2 nights, you're crazy.
You're a cement.
You're living dangerously is what you're doing.
I got a question, though, because I want to go back to statement number 1 that you made, Now, I'm just going to throw this out there. Is there any scenario that you guys can envision that the two of you worked together as a team and went at everybody else?
I mean, now we're getting into WWE type stuff. Like, we're talking
saying.
Hulk Hogan with a black goatee. Like, that's what that would what that would feel
Who would be
like.
the turncoat? Like, would it be? I mean, honestly, if Luke Willson shows up, what time's he on today? 5:05.
Yeah, he'll be in studio at 5. I'm in here with him.
So if Luke shows up today and he decides to pull a fast one, and he walks in with Al's brother, and they're going on a cruise together or something, would that band the group together? Would that galvanize the two of you?
It would. It would galvanize if he gassed me, Hayes. I'm sure you had some hatred last year, because you looked pretty upset when he made the announcement where he said, we're not teammates. And this is so petty. Like, this is our job, but it's entertainment. And it's like wrestling, where it's not real. But I would be gutted if he said, I work with Al's brother this year.
Yeah,
I
guess we have to be open to anything, because I am completely out of the loop. I just saw Al's brother. He was in here doing the afternoon show, and he and I had a little rendezvous, a very degenerate conversation about where we're leaning, because we don't know who has the pick, right? Noodles, you're going to flip a coin in about an hour, and then that will establish, where the picks are going to go and how it's going to jockey the rest of the year. So I'm assuming Al's brother is loyal. I would hope so. I mean, that would be the ultimate sign of disrespect. I brought Al's brother back into the fold. I'm like, I need you to be a part of this. If
you resurrected his life.
I resurrected his gambling career on this show. If he throws me under the bus, that would be the most gutless move ever. Yet now you got me thinking that could be the case. The two of them could be conspiring. I think the issue is, because you asked it, Noodles, like, who would be the one turning?
Yeah,
I think O and I both think we're the good guys, right? Like, we both think we're the ones that people really like and are supporting. And I actually don't have an answer for you, like how the general public would respond to that.
You're totally wrong on my end. Like, my partner is a former NFL player. Do you know how many tweets I get where they're like, oh, dog, you don't even know what you're talking about. That guy played in the league. You just ride his coattails. Which is to some degree true. He might call me with an idea, and I'm like, I don't know. But he still rolls with the main decision. Let's
Yeah.
be real here.
And understandably, like Luke's been on a heater, man, for a couple of years. Like he was going on a run a couple of years ago. Remember when he flipped back over to me? This is how stupid the whole storyline has been, that there's been all these
wrestling.
different wrestling trades. He and I went something like 10-0 or 12-0 to start our career together in the playoffs. It was wild, and both of us were picking a lot of winners last year. And it's going to be fun. I guess you got to find out at 5. Luke will be in here. Al's brother's still in the building. Al's brother will be in here. So yeah, we'll see if any funny business takes place. I'm not banking on it. I'd like to ride the wave with Al's brother. I mean, he was a spark for me last year. I intend on him being a spark for me again this year, and we got good stuff starting tonight.
I just think you need some consistency. Like, again, from the outside, I'm bipartisan because I just literally watch on either side. But I feel like you and Al's brother had such a bad stretch there. And then you got it together, and that's when, when it mattered, you won, technically, all of that. But you were like the Oilers. You were the Edmonton Oilers. Your start to the season last year, correct me if I'm wrong, it was not good.
I was chasing it, and like these guys were red hot, and you get into those bad places, and that's what comes with Al's brother. If you are associated with Al's brother, you will have a 2 to 4 week run that is absurd, like
Either
ice
way.
cold, freezing, or nuclear, and it heats up and it goes the other way. Like that's possible too.
Let me ask you this with some of the information, because we know that he dives into numbers. He's got stat packs. He at least said in your little meeting with him one thing that was completely outrageous, where you said, you cannot bring that to my attention ever again. You said that one time.
Yeah,
you said that one time.
Well, he said, and this is the term he used is, this is how he started his analysis. My question marks begin with the Ravens. And then he dove into why he has questions about the Ravens. That's all I'm going to reveal, because, again, we don't know who's on the clock and we don't want to tip picks. But Luke's coming up in an hour. We got Farhan Lalji, who's down there, probably looking for Taylor Swift, because this is day one of the full reporting, right? We talked about it the other day. I think it was the New York Times that had it first. I'm not even sure why that needs to be reported on. Everyone knows she's going to the game. She's not touring. It's Thursday night. It's in Kansas City. They're still dating. Of course she was going to be at the game. And I'm sure you can track the plane. Maybe she's been in Kansas City for weeks. That wouldn't surprise me either. But T Swift will be there. The game's on TSN tonight. Again, the spread is still at 3 on FanDuel. So it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game tomorrow night, Packers and Eagles. And we got a lot coming up. So Farhan Lalji later this afternoon from Kansas City. Luke and Al's brother coming up as well. The Grappler sent me a note earlier today, actually, because today's a big odds day. Like today's a big day for looking at like what the spread's going to be tonight, the total. Like I've been on FanDuel about 25 times already today. And he said, I know you're going to be doing a lot of NFL futures, but you should take a look at this, because he pointed something out that I was not aware of. And this is completely out of left field, admittedly. But he said, take a look at the NHL futures, like Stanley Cup futures. And I don't think anyone would be surprised. Edmonton's at number 1, right? I think they're plus 850. Florida's number 2, plus I think they're like 10-1. The team with the third shortest odds, the New Jersey Devils.
Interesting.
The Devils. Now they're 11-1, same as Colorado, same as Dallas. But I know they got Markstrom, and that's big. And they made some moves on the back end, and they're healthy. But Sheldon Keefe's there. That to me seems very rich. Like very, very rich.
Now I could see now. Full disclosure, you remember me yelling and screaming last year how I thought Jack Hughes is. I think at some point this guy's going to be an MVP. Like I feel like that's how good this guy is. And I was taking the words out of Gretzky's mouth when Gretzky said the only guy who could challenge McDavid is Jack Hughes from a talent standpoint, which I thought was really interesting. That was a couple years ago that Wayne said that. That being said, your boy Top 50 Dougie's in it. He'll be back, right?
Yes.
So Dougie, you get Dougie Hamilton. Brett Pesce on the scene too.
Yep.
There's another guy.
They got a really good defense down there on paper.
On paper, their D is really good. The problem with that team has been goaltending. And they go and get a rock star goaltender, and they've got Jake Allen. They've got 2 veteran goaltenders that have been number 1. So I can see how it would shoot them up as far as on paper, this team looks really good. I still think that's slightly rich. Like
it's ridiculous. It's what it is. They didn't even make the playoffs.
I totally agree. For them to make that jump where it's
non-playoff to cup contender.
So now we're third, like ahead of the Rangers, ahead of Tampa, ahead of Toronto.
It's one thing to think, hey, things are going to be positive in Jersey. They got the rock star in net, solid goaltending. If everyone healthy. It just seems like there's still a bunch of ifs. Like,
no one cares about what people in New Jersey think. I might have to retire that because I like Sheldon, and Sheldon's down there now. I care what Sheldon Keefe has to say. That's what I care about.
It's a big stretch. I don't know how they would have come up with that, but maybe watching their goaltending last year and the addition of Markstrom was like, well, that's it for those guys. Add the health and watch them go. But they still got to do it.
I remember calling a game in Ottawa, and, you watched – New Jersey was coming in, so I'd watch New Jersey play a couple games leading into Ottawa, so you get familiar with the team, all of that. And I remember kind of through the side of my mouth saying, like, you can't judge that team. I believe I said it to Lindy Ruff. Like, how do you even evaluate your team when you can't get a save? Because you can't evaluate how good the defensive systems are or how the forwards are when they're shooting from the blue line and it's going in. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just no – and he was protective of his goalies and said, listen, we got young guys and all of that. Like, he was very diplomatic about it. But he knew exactly what I was talking about. Like, that was you circle that position and go, if they can get a save, this team has an opportunity to do what? And I think that's where the odds makers are going. We think they're that good that they might be in that conversation. I think it's rich, but I think they're a really good team.
Yeah, I think they're good. Listen, a couple of years ago, that was when they broke out. They I believe finished with well over 100 points, and they were in the mix. And then last year, the goaltending was clearly a big issue there. But you look at the East again. Florida's 10-1. They're 11-1. This is to win the Cup, but they're also favored to win the division. But that's ahead of teams that are perennially in it, like the Rangers, like Carolina. Carolina's always better. They're always consistently good and in it. Toronto, Boston, Tampa, the three teams in the Metro or in the Atlantic that are not named the Florida Panthers. And I found that interesting today. Like, I know we're going to talk a lot about odds and Super Bowl picks and spreads and totals, but we're getting close to kind of pushing that envelope as well when it comes to what the NHL is going to do. And there's slowly some news coming out, including this one was shocking to me. Nikolay Kulemin has signed a PTO in Ottawa.
Saw that.
That's the Maple Leaf Nikolay Kulemin, who I don't believe has been in the league for what?
6 years.
6 years. 2018 was the last time he played.
He was my teammate.
6 years ago.
He was my teammate in Magnitogorsk. That's the guy who was shushing me when the guy pulled a gun on our bus driver. I was yelling gun, and Nikolay Kulemin was shushing me, saying, I'm on the phone here. He was sitting in front of me.
He's 38 years old.
He was sitting in front of me as a kid, and he was on the phone, I think, with his girlfriend at the time, and a guy pulled a gun on our bus driver and had it right in his face, and I was screaming gun, and he was shushing me because he couldn't hear his girlfriend talking. He couldn't care less about the guy.
He's 38 years old?
He's 38 years old. He has not played in the league in 6 years. Like, I have to
Maybe he's got some gas in the tank. You never know, man.
Listen, he had a decent run there with the Leafs. We had a couple of years
He was a good player. I think he scored 31 years.
He had 30 on the nose back in 2010, 2011. That's when he was playing with probably
15
Clark
years
McCarthy.
ago.
I understand that. This is a shock. Like, I think Maple Leaf fans are probably listening or watching this saying, Nikolay Kulemin is back? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, who else is going to return?
And it's not like the guy signed a 3-year contract.
It's a PTO. I understand.
I understand. Let's see what this guy's got. If there's anything, he might stick around, but most likely he won't be.
Like, do you think it's a Pooley kind of, hey, you were my guy back in Toronto, I'll throw – because, like, why would you offer up the PTO unless you think he's got a legitimate shot at doing something? Like, maybe was he going to go play in the American Hockey League and be a veteran? Is that what you're looking for? Does he go back to Russia? I don't know.
Maybe him and Pooley had a relationship. Maybe Pooley liked watching him when he was there, and it's just like, hey, do you think you might have something to add? Yeah, and if you don't, you're probably not going to stick around. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's probably a handshake deal. You either come in and you make our team, or you're back on a bird to the K. Like, I don't think this guy's going, hey, I need $400,000 to go play in, on a two-way to play in
Belleville or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's, if you come make our team, go ahead. Good luck on you. And, I think there's a spot there, or they've got young players like this. Ostapchuk is going to be a really good player. Zach Ostapchuk, he's a big guy, but they might want some of these young guys to still continue to season in the minors, and maybe Kulemin could be a placeholder. Noah Gregor signed there. Is Gregor a lock to be on that team? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't imagine he would be. But listen, I'm pulling for Nick Kulemin. I don't have anything against Nick Kulemin. I just was quite surprised when I saw that Nick Kulemin was back in the NHL.
Okay, before the end of the show, we got to come up with a name that you'd be more surprised. Who's and don't be ridiculous, like a guy who's 50. But maybe there's a guy that is 38 to 42 that you still think is playing that you could bring back and go, I'd add him onto my team.
Okay, let's. I really got to go through this because I think it's going to be tough on the fly here.
Oh yeah, no, we can't do it now. But I'm just
42
saying,
might be a stretch.
I think you need someone in the mid-30s. Yeah, mid-30s.
32 to 38.
But somebody that's out of the league that you're like, okay, that guy, I haven't seen that guy. Oh, he's been playing in Europe. He's been playing.
I'll give you a name on the fly who's 40, but Ian White. Ian White shows up on a PTO for the Leafs.
He's not playing, though.
He played last year, 23-24. He was in the East Coast.
What?
Guy was playing in the Coast last year.
I had Ian in Calgary.
White. Yes, he was a Leaf. He was a Flame. Carolina, Detroit. The guy had a great. You remember he teamed up with Lidstrom and just passed the puck to Nick Lidstrom in Detroit for a couple of years.
Gig that would have been
the best. That's the Ed McMahon of the National Hockey League.
That was Kenny Danico to Scotty Niedermayer. Just shovel it over and just meet you at center ice.
That is the greatest analogy. And Ed McMahon, like that's just sit on the couch and laugh. That's
just show up every day, laugh, and have a positive output, and you're good, man. You can ride that wave for a long time.
Ian White.
Yeah, Ian White played in Norfolk last year of the ECHL. He was playing, I don't even know the league this was, the Motor City Rockers a couple of years ago.
FPHL.
What is the FPHL?
Florida Penal League. I don't know.
It may have been the Florida Penal Hockey League.
I don't know. Florida Professional Hockey League, I would imagine.
I don't know. There's your guy. Let's get Ian White back into the NHL. Let's get him a PTO. He was a good player. He's a World Junior guy.
Does
played
this
for the
have
juniors.
to be a former Maple Leaf?
No, I mean I'm on the fly here. I'm looking because I was looking up the 08-09 Leafs when Kulemin broke into the league, and we get Pony out. Let's get Ponikarovsky out. Who else can we get? There's a number of guys.
Who's the guy who called the coach an idiot?
Grabowski.
Yeah, I remember Grabo.
Grabo's probably still in decent shape. He lives in Toronto now. All right, we'll find a couple of random guys because it's got to be around that wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
You're playing in 2010, 2011,
but it can't
2012.
be ridiculous. It's got to be somebody that's going to get your attention to say yes or no.
Right, and that's still playing. That's still playing. Like Kulemin has been playing in the KHL. He's been playing high-level professional hockey for the last 6 years. Like he's not coming off his couch.
Oh, Matt just sent in one, and I love this guy. Do you guys remember Nigel Dawes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Nigel we had in Calgary, and he's been the Wayne Gretzky of the KHL for years now.
Get him a contract.
For years.
Get him a contract.
Well, how could we forget this one? Frederick Gauthier.
Oh, no.
We got to get the goat back to North America on a PTO.
Give me a stat line last year.
Okay, let me find it. Let me break and we'll come back. Okay, don't look it up. Don't cheat.
I won't. I want to be surprised or shocked.
I'm gonna give you the numbers. You guys are gonna have to guess. Right. This will be Final Jeopardy. I want you to write down goals, assists, points, plus minus.
You got to tell me how many games he played.
I will. I'll give you the games first, and then we'll start a clock. Okay. Get a Jeopardy clock ready, Doogie, and we'll play. That's the. I guess the answer is Freddie the Goat. Or the topic or whatever for Final Jeopardy. All right. Luke Willson coming up in studio. Al's brother still to come. Pierre LeBrun back into the rotation. We got Pierre coming up a little bit later this afternoon. I have a 5-pack as well. I've got a list for you guys. 5 things that I believe need to happen in the NFL this season. All right, I'm going to tell you 5 things that need to happen. You guys can agree or disagree with one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them. Do whatever you want. So we'll get to that a little bit later this afternoon as well. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Luke Willson in studio in about a half an hour. Opening night on TSN Radio. It's a big one tonight. Ravens in Kansas City, taking on the Chiefs. The banner will go up tonight. And then tomorrow night down in Brazil, you got Philly against Green Bay. It does not get any better than that to start a season. I love it. Sunday Night Football's Rams at Detroit. Monday night, Jets at Niners. Like, the NFL just knows how to party hard and fast, right? Like, you hit the ground running and you give people exactly what they're looking for. That's exactly what you got tonight. So Luke's coming up, and Farhan Lalji from Kansas City later this afternoon as well. I'm going to get to my 5 things that need to happen this season. You guys can respond to that. We'll get to that momentarily. But I'm going to play a little Freddie the Goat Jeopardy.
Yes.
Okay, Frederic Gauthier. Last year, he played in the Swiss League for a team. I don't even know how to pronounce the team, to be fair. Okay. But he played 44 games. Now, do you guys have a piece of paper in front of you?
Yeah, I can write it down. Yeah.
If you can write this down before we start the music, I want in 44 games his goals, his assists, then obviously points, and his plus minus. All right, goals, assists, points, plus minus. JP, please start the clock.
I'm just going to tell you, I don't need a piece of paper. Okay. I think he had 8 goals, 7 assists for 15 points, and he was a minus 22.
Okay, that's interesting because I wrote down 44 games played, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points, plus 11.
You got him as a plus 11. Okay, all right, well done. You guys have jotted it down just in time. All right, we've had a great game today. Let me get to the information here. Noodles, you wrote 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points, plus 11.
Yeah.
Jeff O'Neill, you put 8 goals, 7 assists, 15 points, minus 22. The winner, based on proximity to the correct answers, is the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill.
Oh, my God. He's a
Freddie
minus.
the Goat, yes. He had 10 goals, 8 assists, 18 points. Both of you shortchanged him, which I find very disrespectful.
He was a minus, wasn't he?
He was a minus 21.
Oh, my God.
Minus 21.
I was off by 1.
You were so close on all. Both of you were so close on the goals, the points, the assists. But Noodles, you were giving him way too much credit.
Oh, I thought he was
on both ends of the
player.
ice. No,
remember, he told
22.
you guys. He told you guys right to your face that
Jordan
he emulated himself after Jordan
Stahl.
in a unique voice, he said, Jordan Stahl.
Jordan Stahl.
And that didn't. That's not
it did
the case.
materialize, but it maybe it did in the Swiss League last year. He's playing in the K this year.
He was 6'5" every day.
Every day. We love Frederic Gauthier. We love him, man. He was in Rimouski. He won a Memorial Cup there. He was a 2-time World Junior guy too. He won a gold, I think, and a silver. The World Juniors. Never scored a goal though.
Does he have a job this year? That's my question.
Yeah, he's playing in the K. He's playing in the KHL. He's played a game in the KHL, and he's playing for Podolsk.
Podolsk Vitesse.
Yeah. There he is. Okay. And there's, a bunch of Canadians on that team, and Nick Baptiste is over there.
Oh, yeah, Nicholas Baptiste.
Yeah. So there you go.
How much, does it say his contract? Like, how much change would he be throwing in his jeans playing over there?
I don't know. I think everyone makes a decent amount of money in the KHL.
Yeah, I mean, it's depending on what you would term tax-free and all of that. Like, he's probably putting more than he would in the A, put it that way. Probably 300, 400, 500 type of thing.
There you go.
Like, depending on the contract, and I don't know this team. I don't know if they're a wealthy team or not, if they pay bonuses and what their structure is. But he's probably doing okay. Put it that way.
Freddie the Goat. We'll be tracking it. The Goat Tracker will continue. Frederic Gauthier playing in the KHL. I don't think he's going to make his way back, but anything's possible. I mean, again, if Nikolay Kulemin is back on a PTO, it doesn't mean he's officially signed, but he'll be in camp in Ottawa. Linus Ullmark was speaking yesterday. Staios was speaking yesterday, too. Did I miss something? Like, is Ottawa starting camp 10 days earlier than everyone else? Or
I think they're just in town. Like, the one thing, my understanding, they changed public relations people. Like, our buddy Ian Mendes is now the
That's
head.
right. He's running the whole operation there.
So I don't know if they're having a different approach or whatever. I got along very well with the public relations staff there over the last couple of years, so they're buddies of mine. But, Ian has taken over. I don't know if they're having a different approach. But Ullmark has certainly, my understanding, has really embraced the market. And I don't know if you guys saw that Travis Green has been making the rounds a little bit, too, on social and stuff. So So we'll see if maybe we'll have to have Greeny on at some point.
Yeah, we got to get him on for sure. Yeah, before the season, we'll definitely do that. Yeah. All right, so we got Luke coming up in about a half an hour. I have 5 things that need to happen this season in the NFL. Do you guys want to hear this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want me to break
Before
this
you get
down?
to your list, do you like the matchup like Ravens, Chiefs? Like they played each other last year, and a lot of times, even in hockey, like the first game the next year will be the 2 teams that met in the finals. It's like I don't know about that. I don't know. Although they're the Chiefs are a slam dunk. Yes, you got to have them. But do you like going to that matchup right away?
I do.
I do.
I do
Really?
from a marketing stand. I think the case you're making, I understand.
Can you understand where I'm coming from? Where it's like you got to go back to that, like get in some fresh blood. Something
I guess
else.
you could, and in reality, it really doesn't matter who Kansas City's playing tonight. It's a massive audience, massive buzz, and we can't wait to watch it play out. Right? Like they could be playing Carolina tonight, and it would still be a great game. The spread would be like 16.5, but it would be a great game, and it would be a celebration. I think it's. Obviously, the champs are going to host the game the next year at home. That happens every single year. It comes down to who you're playing, who's in the schedule, who's going to work. And I think if you're the NFL, if you're NBC in the States, if you're TSN up here, I just think I think if you have a banger, it's so much better. Yeah. Don't you? Like last year was Detroit, which was a great game. Remember Detroit, Kansas City was a close game, tight spread. I just don't think you want to put a team in there that could get like smoked. Yeah. You don't want to see a spread that's like 7.5.
I think Detroit won that game.
They did win that. They did.
Fake
Kadarius
punt.
Toney, remember?
Fake punt,
and Toney was dropping footballs all over the place.
What would be the biggest donkey game right now that you'd be like, why the hell did they do that?
Well, against Kansas City, like or just in general, like
probably
in
general. What are the two?
Carolina for
England,
sure.
Man.
Carolina, New England. It's probably Carolina, New England. That game should be played in the morning on like a Tuesday. Like that's the kind of respect that those two teams deserve right now.
At a high school football
field. Off-site, off-camera, streaming on a brutal website.
No.
That's where that game should be played. That's as bad as it can get. New England is as bad as it can get. It's actually a perfect segue into my list here because I have a number of things here that pertain to players, that pertain to narratives, that pertain to fan bases. All right, 5 things that I believe need to happen this season in the NFL. I'll start with number 1 because it pertains to the game tonight. I believe it's time for Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes needs his Peyton Manning. And what I mean by that is we just saw with Tom Brady for 20 years. He's the GOAT. He's the man. But it was always Brady and Manning. It was the two of them. You knew they were going to run into each other. You knew Peyton was going to get there. You knew he was going to break through. You knew he was going to win Super Bowls. Right now, it's Mahomes, and I don't know who that guy is that's number 2. Is it Lamar? Is it Allen? Is it Burrow? Could it be Herbert? Could it be Lawrence at some point? Was it Aaron Rodgers a couple of years ago? I don't know. You just
mentioned all those guys, but the one thing that they can't do is beat them.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Someone's got to beat them.
I know. Well, I don't know why you would want that. I don't even know if we have the option to disagree.
Of course you can. These are my opinions. Like you guys battle it out all you want.
I personally love, you guys know how much I like Tom Brady. I didn't even care about the Patriots. I was a Brady fan. And when he was on a team, he was my guy. I like the idea, I don't know why, of him always winning. I like the idea of Tiger Woods in a red shirt always getting it done on a Sunday. It was just part of the Michael Jordan always winning in the finals. To me, that was the special athlete, and you never see that. Like, you look at those quality QBs that you were talking about, it's like they are so far behind because this guy always gets it done. But I really enjoy him always getting it done. Even when they're down, you're like, when Tiger Woods was a couple shots back, you're like, this guy is going to win somehow. And he always did. I found that to be awesome to watch.
I think
so. Therefore, I don't care that you give that you get that secondary guy. I don't think anybody can beat him. Like, it's crazy how good he is.
Someone's got to compete with him, though. Like, you can't let this guy just reign over the whole league for the next decade.
Well, dude,
like, maybe
Allen,
he controls it.
Did you not see what he did to Josh Allen a couple years ago? He got the lead twice, I think, in a 13
seconds. 13 seconds.
Well, there was one before that, too, and then he thought the game was over. And he did it twice, and then this guy just comes back.
Right.
Well, I mean,
it's amazing to watch.
But you're saying there's nobody like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen.
None of them can. Like, Burrow's beaten him. Burrow beat him, and then he lost in the Super Bowl. What I'm saying is, like, there's a long list of very good quarterbacks. Like, it's clear Mahomes is the best, and it's it became clear Brady was the best. There was a time where that wasn't the case. It was Brady or Manning. You picked which one you thought was better.
Do you think Burrow needed to win the Super Bowl to add to the shine?
I think that would have helped him significantly. Yes, I think that would have helped him significantly. And I'm just saying, I hear what you're saying about dynasties, and I think and being the man, and that's probably what we're going to deal with here for a long time with Mahomes. And in the end, Brady's resume clearly was better than Peyton Manning's. They didn't match because Brady won way more than he did. I'm not saying someone's going to catch up with Mahomes, but someone's got to keep up. Like from here on out, someone's got to be willing to say, I can do this too. I think you need that. You need some sort of a competition where you can look at that guy, ideally in the same conference in the AFC, so you don't just have to hope that worlds collide in the Super Bowl. And maybe it's Lamar, maybe it's Allen, maybe it's Burrow. There's a number of guys that you could look at and list, but I believe one of them needs to step up and at least be on his level. And ultimately it's going to be winning that's going to determine that. All right, that's what I got at number 1. Number 2, Caleb Williams needs to be legit.
Oh, my God.
He needs to be legit.
Yeah.
Because Chicago's a great sports town. The Bears have a great history. They have been a lost cause forever because they can't have a quarterback. Even when Jay Cutler was there, it never felt legit. Like, he won games. They won the division. I think they won the conference one year. But it never felt like they were actually in Super Bowl contention. They've run through all these different quarterbacks. This is it. You bottomed out. You got the pick. First overall, tons of hype, tons of love, looks great, tons of weapons. Caleb Williams, he needs to be legit. He's got to show it this year.
What about the fan base? The fan base is one of the top fans. Like, I'm not a Bears fan. I think the only Bears fan I know is Kate Burness.
Yeah, Kate Burness is, yeah.
She loves the Bears.
But how many organizations, they can't continue to trend like other organizations, whether it be Carolina or the Jets, continuously picking the wrong guy and screwing the organization, and you get a chance to get the wonder kid, he has to pan out.
Needs to.
Because God knows what happens if they don't.
For me, every time I think of Chicago, the last good quarterback there was McMahon, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's in the 80s. That's the 85
Jimmy
Bears.
McMahon.
Our boy Cutler was there. Our boy
Cutler was good.
was there.
Cutler was good. Marshall was a weapon for him. They had, Urlacher was there. They had some weapons at times.
You guys hated Jay Cutler, though. You guys
I didn't. I
hated
wasn't
him.
a big fan of the attitude and the way. Listen, he had a big arm. But he couldn't compete with Rodgers and the Packers. Like, that's the truth. Aaron would walk in there and smack him around, the Bears around, and they couldn't get the job done.
You'd always post, though. Somebody would always snap a pic of him having a dart somewhere.
Yeah, he always was miserable.
He always lighting darts up.
Yeah. But I swear, the last time, again, with all due respect to Cutler, he wasn't a superstar. It was McMahon.
Probably.
William the Fridge Perry or whatever his name was. Yep. And our boy Mike Ditka.
Mike Ditka. As the head coach of the 85 Bears.
That's when they were legendary.
That's how long it goes, man. You're talking 40 years since they won a Super Bowl and were really, really in the mix. And now it's a quarterback-driven league. They got to get that right. Williams needs to be legit. Number 3, the 49ers need to win a Super Bowl this year. I have stated this a couple times this week. Brock Purdy's going to get paid. All these guys are making big money. A lot of these guys they're paying, whether it's Trent Williams or Nick Bosa or Fred Warner or Christian McCaffrey, they're being paid like number 1, number 2, number 3 at their position in terms of the amount of money, what their cap hit is. Brock Purdy is 32nd at his position, dead last in the league. He gets paid nothing, relatively speaking. That is going to change. He's going to get paid a boatload of money if he has a big year, and they're going to lose guys. And this is it. You look at their roster on both sides of the ball. They are stacked. They've been through contract negotiations. They've been in the dance multiple times. They've lost 2 Super Bowls in the Shanahan era. I think this is a make-or-break year. I think after this, if it doesn't work, they're going to have to reset a lot of that organization.
I totally get what you just said, but who's to say they just you're talking like they automatically get back there again.
I'm not saying that. I'm not calling it. I'm
Luke
saying they need to.
come on our show and say that they are so good and they should just go back to there's no guarantees.
No
with
guarantees.
those guys. Like, they've already been there twice and they didn't win. It's like, that's crushing, man. And to just say, oh, we got to get back to win one. Who the hell knows if they're ever going to get back? There's going to be teams that step up and they're going to be tough to beat. Wasn't that a tight game against Detroit last year for them?
Sure was. Green Bay, the same thing, man. The Packers had them.
But
so I just don't think they're going to be a guarantee to get back there, Hayes.
Well, and who's to say they don't have a year where it's just like they got injuries?
What about a down year?
That happened to them a few years ago. They had a ton of injuries. They never got up off the mat. And that could happen. I'm not predicting they're going to win. I'm saying I think they need to. Like I think.
Okay,
this
so what
is
if they have a bunch
they
of
need to
injuries
do.
this year and they just can't get off the mat and they can't get back? Do you run it back again next year?
I
and
don't
say,
think they're going to be able to, man.
No, I don't think so
I don't think
either.
they're going to be able to. I think Purdy's going to get paid again. I think other guys are going to get older. Guys, you're going to cut guys. You're going to have to move money around. This is very focused. Like this is a make or break year. The Niners, they got to pounce.
Couldn't Purdy have said, I want a new deal? Like you rip whatever.
Yeah.
Mine is. Like couldn't he have done that?
Possibly could.
Probably.
I mean, he's under contract, but the way the NFL operates, I mean, quarterbacks don't generally do that. Like
Didn't
Jordan
they do
Love
it with
did.
Mahomes? Didn't they do it with Mahomes where he got one deal and then all the other guys started getting paid? And they were like, hang on a sec. We got to give our guy some more money.
And that's what will continue to happen. He signed a 10-year deal with an understanding that every few years they're going to rejig it and they're going to basically give him more money. And, it's all about the guarantees and signing bonuses and all that kind of stuff. NFL contracts are complicated. But, yeah, that's exactly what I guess could have happened. But Purdy's probably like, give me a year with this. Look at all the talent I have around me. Get me in camp. Get me set up. I want to be a leader here. I want to be the man. And he knows if he plays well and stays healthy, he's going to make a lot of money. Number 4 on the 5 things that need to happen this season in the NFL, Dak Prescott needs playoff success.
Oh,
Needs.
100%. I think he does. 100%.
Needs if he wants to stay in Dallas or if he wants to be the man and if he wants to continue to be considered in that same category as other top 7, top 8 quarterbacks.
What do you consider success?
Multiple wins where he's the man, where he's like, he wins them playoff games because he was great. 2-minute drill. They're down 6, down 3, whatever it is. Dak says, give me the ball. I'm going to torch this defense and send us into the next round. Needs to do that. You saw him play in that wild card game against Green Bay. It was outrageous
Dude,
what he was doing in that first half.
Why would you trust anything else from those guys?
Yeah.
It's just like we talked about it yesterday. What can teams, organizations, players continue to do? They generally don't stray away from that. So we're going to do the same thing. It's like deja vu about the Cowboys and other teams where it's like, yep, this is their year. This is their year. And the Cowboys, I don't trust them more than any other team in pro sports. We're going to hype them all year, and then guys in the U.S. are going to be like, these guys are serious this year. And Pierre LeBrun's going to get all fired up on this show, which he might do today, and say, this is my team, and I love these guys. And they just they screw it up real bad.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I think he needs success. Like this guy, they're a broken record there in Dallas. Like that's, the hype machine is always there. They're a good team, though, but he's a regular season hero, isn't he?
Yes, he generally is. The definition of a guy who loves those regular season numbers. He's a good quarterback. He's a really good player. But I think if he wants to stay in Dallas, I think the reason they haven't signed him to that extension is because Jerry wants to see it happen first. All right, number 5 on the 5 things that I believe need to happen this NFL season. Admittedly, this is incredibly petty, but I think 31 fan bases would agree with me. Patriot fans need to suffer.
No.
Awful. Be horrible, horrendous, have no hope.
They don't have a choice that's going to happen.
Exactly.
They went through.
I embrace it, and I love it, and I promote it. You had 20 years of the greatest run, maybe in sports history.
Yes.
It's time for you to take a seat. Go sit over there and be horrendous.
You want them to suffer because you've watched them.
Because they were so good for so long, man. They went to 9 Super Bowls.
Did you not hear what I just said?
Bowls.
Where that's fantastic.
I understand that. If you're a Patriots fan, that's fantastic, or a Brady fan in your case. If you're a fan of any other team, it was nauseating every single year. And this is how it balances out in pro sports. I would guess they'll figure it out. They'll turn it around at some point, but it's going to be awful, and I think it'll be awful for a couple of years. It's been bad the last year or two. I mean, let's call it what it is. Last year wasn't much better, but I think if you're a fan of any of the other teams, you're like, go stand in the corner.
Well,
go stand in the corner.
That's a non-negotiable thing. Whether you think it should happen or not, that's going to happen. They are going to be god-awful.
Yes, they are.
And every other fan base will say, chew on that. How does that feel? Because you came into our building and won Super Bowls and killed us for so many years.
Everybody forever.
Everyone.
Yeah, they really did. Brady did. Belichick did. And you got to tip your cap. Like, you can be a Bills fan, a Jets fan of whoever, Dolphins fan. Yeah, you got to tip your cap. They had the most incredible run. I don't think we'll never see anything like that ever again. I cannot imagine we will see a 20-year run with like Belichick types, Brady types, that kind of success. They win the division every year, their top seed every year, Super Bowl all the time. It's
Dominating.
outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's outrageous. All right, there you go. There's a little top
list.
5 for you. Yeah, all right. There you go. Up on TSN4. Looking good. I like it. Joe from the Bridge. All right, so we'll recap that. We can get into that with Lukey. Luke's coming up in about 20. We got Al's brother coming up. We got Pierre LeBrun still to come as well. I think we'll be doing a list. Maybe we'll do like a listed thing every Thursday on the show.
That's cool.
I like
Moving
it.
forward.
I like it.
Yeah, we'll get creative.
Is it called Hazy's List?
It can
though?
be. Listen, if you guys want to step in with a list of your own, you're always welcome. This is a democracy we're dealing with here, but
I know, but
I'm happy to do a list, and
I like the list and us kind of weighing in. But you're right.
Okay.
If one of us want to grab a list somewhere along the way, we start with Hazy's List though. But
no, it's got to stay Hazy's list.
Yeah.
It's going to be mine permanently. Sure.
No,
I'm
it's
good with that.
Hazy's list, but me and Noodles can come up with the top 5 once in a while.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like it. And then you
Contribute.
guys, you're battling on my opinions, right? You guys agree, disagree, say whatever you want to say,
I agreed with them.
and we'll take it
liked
from
it.
there. Okay, there you go. All right, we got opening night tonight. Chiefs Ravens. Chiefs -3 on FanDuel. The total's 46.5. We'll touch on that and more still to come, and put a primer on the upcoming NFL season, which kicks off on TSN tonight. Luke Willson in studio in about 15 minutes. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, we were talking about Nick Kulemin signing a PTO with the Ottawa Senators. Some other Sens news that came out yesterday. You see Brooke Henderson signed an endorsement deal with Ottawa. She's going to be wearing like Senators patches on her gear, I guess.
Senators colors once a tournament. Like
Okay.
That's cool.
Once every 4 rounds, she's going to have the Sens colors on, like with her pants, shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I never heard of that before. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I haven't heard of like individual teams necessarily doing that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sponsoring a person.
Well, you know
like,
that Jake Knapp guy, that guy that won this year in Mexico? He had like Anaheim Ducks logo on his shirt all year.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what's his name has Major League Baseball as a sponsor. I'm blanking on his name. It's an RBC guy as well.
It's kind of cool though to
Cam
have
Young.
have a team sponsor, an individual like an NHL team. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean she's from out that way, right? Like she's I think kind of in between Toronto and Ottawa. Must lean Sens. Must be a big Sens fan. Or she certainly is now. I mean, I wouldn't admit that you're a Leaf fan after you sign that deal.
No.
That would probably end that contract pretty quickly.
I think immediately. Yeah. I would think that would be called off immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah, like if you got caught at a Leaf game with a jersey on and you were cheering and gone.
Yeah.
Like, end of story.
Yeah, because like athletes are always concerned about that with their endorsements. If you're a Nike guy, an Adidas guy, or whatever, it's like you have to wear that stuff.
Yeah.
You cannot be caught wearing the competitor's stuff, and there's no bigger competitor if you're an Ottawa Senator than the Maple Leafs. So that's it for Brooke. I guess she won't be dropping the puck anytime soon down at Scotiabank Arena.
No.
But disappointing.
If she does something for Canada, I would think that then maybe between a Sens,
that's
Sens
usually
game.
acceptable. If you're representing the country, then the rules get bent a little bit. But yeah, that's reasonable. So NFL starting tonight, NHL right around the corner. One of the great voices that I think of that do both of them, both hockey and football, incredibly well is the great Sam Rosen, one of our favorites, right? Sam Rosen, the voice of the Rangers. See, he announced that this will be his final season. He's retiring after this season. He won't be calling Ranger games anymore.
What a career. What a voice.
A career. And I always thought of him as football because I didn't get local Ranger games. And he called so many big, great football games in the 90s and 2000s. And, once I got into this industry, I realized, he's actually the voice of the Rangers, which is really, really cool.
That's how I always remember him, as the voice of the Rangers. And totally yelling at him in Raleigh in the Stanley Cup Finals for his parallel parking job, and I did not know it was him. And I had to this guy was pulling into a bagel shop when I went to before I went to practice, and worst parallel parking job I've ever seen. And I pulled up level and absolutely teed off on Sam Rosen. And then I got level and saw face to face with him, and I go, Sam, I'm really sorry, man.
Yeah.
I said, just carry on with it. I didn't even go in. I was so embarrassed. And then I had to see him at the rink and have a little talk with him because it was unnecessary,
Was it
but
that?
it was It was a brutal parking job, and I lost it, and I had to apologize.
Was
But
it that,
great career, voice of the Rangers.
Shout out to Sam Rosen
shout
and his
out to Sam.
bagel.
But yeah, was it like that egregious of a like? Also, was your reaction like? Was there an O'Doyle wave in there too, or something?
There
or
was
no?
it was everything, Noodles. If you can think of somebody, because it was partly the parking job, and he took the spot that I was going to go in.
Yeah.
So I really leaned into him with some choice language, and then I pulled. It was like a horror movie when you pull up and you look, and it's like, oh my God, that's Sam Rosen.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
your reaction to the parallel park was similar to his reaction to this happening 30 years ago.
Yeah.
O'Donnell being taken in an ambulance.
He is conscious. You can see the eyes open. Oh, look at that. Oh, my goodness. Oh. I can't believe we just saw that. They dropped. That was live in the tunnel.
I can't believe I just saw that.
The greatest clip in NHL history. I'm sorry.
It is.
There's nothing greater than that. Catching Modano getting dropped on the stretcher. And it's just a perfect, natural, organic reaction.
Dude,
oh
can you
my
imagine
God.
if that happened in today's day and age with social media, how that would blow up?
Viral
memes,
within
the memes.
seconds. The memes in seconds. All right, hour 2 coming up. Luke Willson, Al's brother, in studio. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.